we need to say something. Can you say something?
Hello and welcome to the Stef and Samantha show, coming to you live from the country.
Hi everyone, my name is Stef, and with me here today is Samantha Lotus, a good friend of mine, and Samantha happens to be a naturopath, and what else?
All sorts of things. All sorts of things. I like to call myself a human optimization specialist. So really weaving in a multimodality approach to thriving as a human being on this planet at this time.
Ooh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's very cool. So we're going to be talking about a very interesting topic today, which is all about how cities make you weak and sick. And this is a topic that you suggested, and I'm curious as to why.
Yeah, I mean, there's such a huge push in modern society to move away from the land, to move away to nature, and to be pushed into cities, right? We're seeing all of these smart cities being built. We're seeing a lot of different zoning things happen where there is this huge push, and there's just so many people on the planet that we have to squish them all into little buildings, little concrete boxes, stacked one on top of another, and it's really the way to also control people, and there's a whole other kind of thread that could be played out there.
Yeah.
But essentially, I've been traveling for a really long time now, and a lot
12
of times...
12 years.
12 years, yeah. 12 years on and off, but really consistently for the last 2 years, full time. And a lot of times we're in cities. And right now, being out on the farm, I notice such a huge difference personally in my own health. And then when you're starting to reflect of the way that life is set up in the city, you just see that it is so against our nature in every single way. Humans were not designed to live so disconnected from nature. And the fact that 1 in 3 people has a chronic degenerative disease, and everybody is struggling in some way with their health. We have to look at the environmental factors as well. So it's a big one.
Yeah.
It's a big one. And maybe not everyone can go live out on a farm, but if you are living in a city, there are definitely things that you need to consider to mediate the symptoms that come from city living.
Yeah. And what are the symptoms of city living, just for anyone living in a city? I know I definitely experienced massive shifts when I moved out into the country as well, so I'm curious what your perspective is.
Yeah, so I'd say the first one is that just the pulse of a city, right? Normally it's like really go, go, go. It's a little bit hectic. There's a lot of traffic and sounds and noises and movement. So just on a nervous system level, that can be really deregulating, where there's just so much movement.
Yes.
In Ayurveda, we'd say there's too much vata, too much air and space, which can be destabilizing. So there's that, and not to mention all of the Wi-Fi and the 5G and the pollution and like all of the environmental factors that are also hitting us.
But there's so many people that say that Wi-Fi and 5G, it has no effect on you, like no effect on health. So where do you come from on this?
Yeah, so there are two sides of every story, and I think a lot of people are like, oh, it doesn't have any effect. And then there are a lot of studies, especially when you take electromagnetic frequency testers and you test, and you can see the high voltage. And they've done tests on children in schools where some of the schools have Wi-Fi and some don't, and the test results are astronomically different. The way that the children reported feeling as well was quite different.
Really?
Yeah, and so this is maybe going a little bit on the woo-woo side, but
we love woo-woo.
Good, we love woo-woo. So the electromagnetic frequencies, our minds are a sending and receiving center of information, of electricity. And so all of that Wi-Fi really messes with our pineal gland specifically, or our third eye, our ability to regulate, and like the main regulation center of the brain. So we're always picking up all of these signals. And because we are electric in nature, and we are made up of so much water, well, electricity affects water, it affects everything, so I don't know how it could not affect us.
Yeah. It's so interesting because my mum dragged me to a 5G seminar when it was all kind of starting to happen, and I was kind of like hesitant, and I'm like, okay, I'll go. But there were all scientists and doctors speaking and building biologists speaking at this event, and it really made me open my eyes as to, holy shit, there actually are studies and plenty of evidence out there that 5G and all of this wireless stuff affects our health. But not only our health, it's like insects
Birds?
And birds.
Yeah,
apparently, yeah, there's like a tower just around here, and apparently when they installed the tower, all of the birds moved away in a 5-kilometer radius.
It's wild. When you see things, I have goosebumps. When you see things of like London, England, how where they put up, or even in the outskirts where they put up all of these 5G towers and they're just dead birds everywhere. Right? So I definitely think that has an impact. And then when we think of, well, what else are we consuming? Well, the water. Right? City tap water is so toxic. There's just no way around it. Like, it's dead water. It's been stripped. It's been fluorinated. Like, there's chloride. There's all sorts of things, like so much birth control, estrogens, hormones, bacterium. So your little Brita filter is not going to fix that. Like, so all of the city water, and then your food. Where is your food coming from? It's normally not grown right next to you, so it's being imported, or it's coming from far away. And the further your food is coming, the less nutrients it has. So we're essentially being depleted in every way. And then living in concrete boxes. Humans are meant to have their feet on the ground, breathing in the trees. And when you're living in concrete, you're pretty much never getting your feet on the ground. You're never earthing. You're never connecting to waterfalls. You know, you're not connecting to nature. You're not surrounded by green, which is really harmonizing to the heart center. It oxygenates your blood and your body. And then the social aspect too, when you live in a city, most people don't say hello to each other. There's a real big disconnection. It's just so superficial. And humans are meant to have deep, connected relationships. So it's just hitting you in every single way.
That's so true. Yes. And I found I went through a massive transition from moving from the city into the country, where it was just like a spiritual awakening in regards to, holy shit, humans are living in such a strange way, and the hippies got it right.
The hippies are doing something right. That's for sure. You know, like, even hippies are really portrayed as like just weed smoking, like, and sure, there are people like that, but I mean, the granola movement, the hippie movement, connecting to the earth. When you see those people, they're happy and they're healthy, and most of them look pretty good and young, and they're living a different way, and it's like kind of more the original way that we were meant to live.
And I was telling you a story of when I first moved into the country, and I noticed myself wearing so much black, still wearing lots of makeup, thinking that that's like what we're supposed to look like. And when I moved to the country, I came here and looked at the women here, and they just looked so beautiful and radiant and just looked vital and alive, and people's eyes sparkled. Like, there was an aliveness in people's eyes. And I was just like, I want that. So I started wearing more color and deconditioning and deprogramming myself, eating real food, paying attention to where my food was coming from. There's like an organic co-op here that has all local food. And just the connection of community. You know, you can go out to buy some bread or some milk and just think you're going to drop into town, but you always end up running into people and talking to people, and people help each other when natural disasters happen and all sorts of things. So it's just been such an eye-opener for me.
It's so much more connected, right? Like, we're connected, and this is the thing I tell a lot of people that they don't know. So if you didn't know this, you're gonna get a little truth bomb. You as a human are not just on the earth. You're not just on the earth. You are of the earth. You are not just like disconnected and separate to nature. You are nature. Like, the food you eat is from the ground, the water you drink is from the mountains, the air you breathe is from the trees, right? Like, we are nature, and we've forgotten that, and we've come so far from that, and that's really a huge reason why most people are so sick. And even, you know, like, I stay in cities quite a bit for work and traveling, and I was just in Sydney for a month, and then in Byron Bay, which is more chill. But coming here for the last 3 days, I've been sleeping 12 hours. It's just, my nervous system is finally like, okay. And it's that recalibration. Dreams are more vivid. You see your skin starts to glow, your eyes are glowing, you're like more intuitive, you're more sensitive, you feel things again.
Yeah.
It's a really big difference.
Yeah. That's amazing. And what were some other symptoms that people get, like, that come with city living? Because we kind of went on a detour with the 5G. Is there anything else?
Yeah, anxiety is a big one, right? Like if your nervous system is dysregulated, you're being just pumped full of cortisol all the time. There's like this low-grade stress that happens. So there's going to be a dysregulated nervous system. When your nervous system is in fight or flight, you cannot digest properly. You can't. Your hormones cannot flow properly. So this actually affects women even more than men because our hormones are more delicate. So infertility, right? Like reproductive issues, skin, acne, eczema, all of these things are like, oh, how would that be city related? But anything that comes from nervous system dysregulation, mental health.
Yes. And do you know that when your nervous system is dysregulated, you can't critically think?
Of course.
It's crazy to me.
Of course, the part of the brain for critical thinking gets shut down.
Yeah.
Less blood flows to the body, so things like circulation issues, even heart attacks. Right? There are so many more heart attacks people living in cities than living out in the country.
Yeah.
I believe that every health issue can be related to being disconnected from our nature.
Definitely.
Yeah, so a lot of the mental health and the anxiety is something that we really see. And then for everyone, especially for women, because we are more sensitive, so many digestive issues, thyroid issues, really a lot of thyroid issues are connected as well to this disconnection. And I can't say it's just because of the city, because I do believe you can be healthy living in a city. You just have to, there's a lot more things to be mindful of and to mediate with. And you can also be unhealthy living in the country as well. Of course.
Yeah, there's definitely, unhealthy people in the country. But there's also like this toughness that comes with country living. I think you're just more grounded with what is natural, with the natural world, with death, because you might have animals that are dying all the time, or you're just seeing nature play out its natural role and all that kind of stuff. You just are grounded so much more. You might tend to the land a bit, which also requires you to be physical and fixing fences or whatever it is. It just requires you to get up and move. The distances aren't so close, so you have to travel a little bit further. Maybe you're moving your body and participating in the world a lot more.
I can't believe I didn't say this. So city life is sitting life, right? Where country life is often more movement, and sitting is the new smoking. It really is. And then blue light as well. So the more blue light that we're getting, especially first thing in the morning, being on your computer all day, sitting in a scrunched position, scrolling before bed, fluorescent lights, fake lighting, the blue light is really, really damaging our circadian and our infradian rhythms, which is our feminine rhythms. It affects everyone. And so all of these blue lights in the sitting, that's like more related to city life as well. And that's something that is a huge threat to our health that people aren't really talking enough about.
Yeah. It's so interesting because a naturopath that I was working with mentioned that in the past 10 years in particular, she works more specifically with women, and she's seen such a massive increase in autoimmune diseases in women in the past 10 years. What do you think that would be related to?
Everything we've talked about, and all of the toxins in the food, all of the glyphosate and all of the Roundup and all of the pesticides, like they have gone through the roof. And that really has a strong effect. Like toxins, all of the perfumes, the chemicals, the shampoos, everything has become more and more toxic. And that is directly related to autoimmune condition. Really? A side note is most people don't understand autoimmune condition. They say that the body's attacking itself, and the body actually doesn't attack itself ever. The body is attacking toxicity and pathogens. So most of the time it's having too many toxins in the body, or having bacterial, viral, or parasitic overgrowth in the body. It really annoys me when people say that the body is attacking itself, or that the body stopped working or something like that. I don't. Welcome to modern medicine. Yeah. Your body's just attacking itself. It's bad. We need to cut it out and kill it and blast it in. And that's not the way.
Yeah.
It's just not the way. Just like if you have a beautiful farm or a garden and you have a few weeds, what are you going to do? Are you going to take a bomb and you're going to bomb the whole farm? No, you're going to go in and you're going to take out the weeds.
Yeah.
Tend to the soil. Maybe it needs some oregano. Maybe it needs a little spraying, you know, of like natural things to help it grow.
Yeah.
But yeah, modern medicine just has it completely turned inside out and upside down.
Yeah, because one thing that I've noticed about the body is that the body is always sending us signals and messages, and always wants it. Like, the body's sole purpose is to help us thrive and be alive, you know, live this experience of being human. So it's never trying to hurt us or harm us. It's just trying to send us messages. And sometimes if we're not hearing those messages, that's what turns into symptoms, and then things get much worse. So that's when we might start to think, oh my God, my body's not working. But it was working. It was sending you messages all along. And now that things have gotten worse, it's just an even stronger message. But a lot of the time people don't do anything about it. They just, you know, go take a pill, or you know, they don't explore what might be going on with their bodies.
Yeah. And I believe that's by design as well. I'm more of the conspiracy route.
We love that.
Good. So, yeah, I believe that is by design. And we're not going to get too much into the sociology or the history of things. But essentially, we have been taught to outsource our body and our symptoms and our healthcare, everything, to the professionals, to the doctors, who are these gods among men, right? They're these gods that know everything, and we are so disconnected from our own bodies. Most people don't even know where their liver is, right? Like, they don't know where their organs are. They don't know what their organs do. They don't know almost anything. They don't know about their hormones, because we're not taught. So it's, oh, you have something happening, let's get you to the doctor. Let's run to the pharmacy. So we're outsourcing, and this is the way that our medical system it runs. And so it's about reclaiming our power and learning how to tune into the body and understanding, well, what are these symptoms? What is my body saying to me? Because your body is always working with you and for you. It's never working against you. And even cancer is an expression. Your body's speaking to you, saying, hey, there's something we need to look at, or there's something we need to work on together.
Yes, I love that. So cool. I don't know where to go from here.
So what I would say is, for anyone that's watching this being like, I'm in a city, am I going to get so sick? Like, right? We don't want to fear. We don't want to fear monger, but essentially some things that you can do. Right? Like, well, move to the country. That's the first thing. Get to the country. That's definitely the first thing. But if that's not accessible, you know, some of the things that you can do are, when we start to look at the environmental factors, like Wi-Fi. You can turn off the Wi-Fi at night. That could be a big one to help with your sleep. For water, getting a water filter. Like the Berkey is a great water filter. And the Brita one does not pull out fluoride, so that's not a great filter. I don't know what it is in Australia, but Brita...
Or reverse osmosis.
Reverse osmosis can be great. So we want to get really good quality filtered water, and then making sure that we're adding minerals to our water, because our water has been stripped of minerals. So taking care of water, even getting a filter on your showers and bath, right? If we're showering in tap water, we're absorbing all of that. Turning your products, so all of your shampoos, conditioners, soaps, face creams, perfume is a big one, right? Where are you spraying that perfume? So shifting that to all natural, essential oil based, natural, homemade, whatever it might be.
But not just any essential oil, right?
No, not any essential oil. Not the synthetic essential oils. I'm a purist. I'm a doTERRA girl. So I will say that. Yeah, so making sure it's the medical grade essential oils, and doTERRA is the ones that I use. It's available everywhere. And then, so that's the product base. Now your food, right? Conventional food that you get at the grocery store, most of it is genetically modified. Most of the meat is fed the wrong diet. Most of the packaged foods are so filled with chemicals. So doing your best to stay as simple and natural as possible, knowing who your farmers are. Even if you live in a city, you can find an organic farmer's market. You can go to smaller farm stalls. You can order like butcher boxes or organic veggie boxes. So definitely doing that.
Yes, and a lot of farmers, especially in Australia, I've seen that they do ship their produce to people as well, which isn't ideal because you're still shipping, but it's better than, I mean, in the city, you're always going to be shipping and using fossil fuels and all that kind of stuff, but
So you may as well support a local farmer
Yeah,
somewhere
exactly.
in your area.
The more you can get to know your farmers, the better you'll be.
Yeah, exactly. And even if you live in a city, find a park near you, go and take off your shoes, put your feet on the grass, get some grounding, and take time off your phone. You know, maybe it's a digital detox once a week. Maybe you decide to go out into the forest or go find a waterfall somewhere near you and just submerge yourself into nature. And then things like breath work can be really helpful. Embodiment practices like you do, getting into your body, you know, yoga, meditation, anything that really regulates you.
Yes.
So these are some things that you can do to actually be a lot healthier living in the city.
It's so interesting. When I was in the city, there were times where I'd go into nature, but I wouldn't really pay attention. Like, I'd go for walks, and it would be a mission. It wasn't ever a slowing down and paying attention and spending time in nature. It was always like, I'm going for a walk for my fitness to stay skinny or something like that. It was never, you know, just to pay attention. And even the times that I did try to pay attention, I found like I would get restless. And I think it was because my nervous system was just completely unregulated and completely shot. And I was so used to being busy all the time. And I never really allowed myself to fully rest or slow down. And that is such a crucial thing.
Oh, that's such a good point, right? Living in a city where your nervous system is always used to being stimulated, it can be really hard to be still. And so like practicing a little bit of stillness, presence. Yeah, you know, a lot of times like people go for a run in the forest with their earbuds in, listening to music, so disconnected. But it's like, how can you just slow down and take in your surroundings and really be connected?
Yeah.
Because it takes some practice.
Yes.
You know, even after being in the city for a month, I'm like, okay, like, and it's like, whoa, just slow down and tone and get in tune with your system.
Yes, definitely. And we can all get in tune with our bodies, all get in tune with our system. It's just taking that time, which we all think we are running out of, and we don't have time because we're so busy. We have a million things on the to-do list. But when we do take time, when we do slow down, we actually can tune into what is real for us. And a lot of the time when we do that, we find that a lot of the things on our to-do list we can just cross off, because that's not in tune, it's not aligned with who we really are or who we really want to be. So we actually become more productive in creating a life more aligned with our truth when we do slow down, and then we get rid of the shit that doesn't actually belong to us. Yeah.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Aho to that. So true.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what it is. It's coming, you know, I believe illness and dis-ease is a disconnection from our home, our bodies, our planet, who we really are. And the city life can be so hectic and can kind of consume you into this culture, into the whole thing, like the rat race and succeeding and achieving and accomplishing and all those things, which are all great. And we've kind of been very, very overly focused on that, and then under focused on just really coming home to ourselves. And when you're really home with yourself, when you know who you are and how you feel and what you really want, what's really important to you, then you live, like you said, in that alignment. And then you're aligned, and so dis-ease doesn't really have that same space to flourish.
Yeah. And actually, one of the things that we've been chatting about as well is like the beauty culture in cities. And you've been around the world and you've noticed this as well, where there's been more prevalence on cosmetic surgery and fillers and all these other things. What kind of an effect does that have on the body?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. This is a big one, because I believe everyone has the right to do their own thing, and aesthetics and what you find beautiful is for you. And I do my best to stay objective and not judge. What we see when we have foreign objects placed into the body, like breast implants specifically, or fillers, but when we have, say, breast implants, the body knows that it's something foreign, and it actually tries to push it out. Or there's a lot of autoimmune challenges that come up, or thyroid challenges, because it's so close. Some of them, I know they've gotten better over the years, but some of them have leakages, or they actually, when the explant surgery happens, a lot of the the implants are all black and moldy. They actually accumulate mold in the body. So women are starting to, many women are starting to speak out about implant sickness. And then fillers as well. It's a foreign substance in your face, right? And so what is that doing to the lymphatic system? What is that doing just to your bloodstream? Like we see there are a lot of challenges, but a lot of them aren't spoken about. Even Botox, it's relatively safe, but it's still it's a natural toxin, but it's still a toxin putting into the body, right? Yeah. So, and then when we talk about the mental health effect, like there's a lot of self-esteem wrapped up in that whole culture. And so it's something that I just feel like, is it the culture that's creating those pressures, or is it a low self-esteem thing? Is it just that this is the new norm of aesthetics? Butt surgery is more and more popular, and it's actually really dangerous. People actually do die. And the cosmetic surgery of having your stomach cut, or all the liposuction, like none of those are 100% safe. And again, it's kind of like really far from the natural holistic way of doing things. So I think that's a whole other topic to go down.
Not to mention, like, every time we have surgery or do anything like that, that causes the body trauma. When you're cutting yourself up over and over again and modifying your body in different ways, it causes trauma.
For sure. Even I grew up in a small kind of punky town, and it was really popular to get tattoos and stretched ears and piercings. And so I've had probably over 12 piercings, and I have a whole lot of tattoos. And if I could go back, I wouldn't even get one tattoo, because I started to learn about how it scars. It scars, and it affects your meridians. It affects your lymphatic system. It's actually not great to have tattoos, especially in your, torso area. And so, I think all of this body modification has become really popular, especially in the cities. And then you realize, oh, it's actually not great. Especially belly button piercings really mess with the digestive. The digestive meridian, which all of that. So there's so many things that.
Plus the inks that we use in tattoos as well, as a lot of them are toxic. Which I only just found out after I got my tattoos. So there's so much to consider, basically, and not all of it is about the city, but it's just so much more prevalent to fall into these traps in the city, because we're so disconnected from nature in cities. Because even the buildings, they're unnatural shapes. The houses that we live in, the dream houses that people would love to live in, are huge houses where they spend most of the time inside and don't spend time outside at all. My dream house is a tiny little house where I just go to sleep, maybe cook some dinner, but then I want to be spending time out in nature as much as possible. This house is way too big for me. I don't want to clean as much as I do. The more time that that's actually something that I realized when I was living in the van, because it was such a tiny space where I just slept, and it was just a little safe space. But most of the time, me and Falky were out moving, adventuring, exploring, and I became the healthiest that I had been in years living in the van because of the lifestyle. So even just the choices that we choose to make in cities where we live is such an important aspect to our health.
Absolutely.
And the unnatural shapes, the straight lines, and everything.
It's all unnatural. And that's what it really comes down to. And so I think what is beautiful right now is there's a new awakening and an emergence of people recognizing, like, oh wow, I actually want to feel good. I actually want to reconnect with nature. It's actually not ooey or gross or scary or weird. So a lot more people are recognizing this, and there are more natural alternatives and options and communities sprouting up and farmers markets. And so we are going in the right direction, but it is important that we're having these conversations and we're inviting other people to remember who they really are and what we really are.
Does that mean that you'll be friends with spiders now?
No. No, I'm not there yet, Stef. So the level of enlightenment that I'm not at is being friends with cockroaches, spiders, snakes, other creepy crawlies. Maybe I'll get there, but it is not yet.
That's fair enough.
I appreciate that they have a function.
Yeah.
Just, I don't need to be near their function fully yet.
Yeah.
See, this is the city talking. I still have my city conditioning.
It's so funny because whenever someone arrives here, and I mentioned that there's lots of spiders, one of the things that I like to say is that this is a living ecosystem. You know, when there's spiders, when there's bugs, when there's lots of different animals, you are in a living, thriving ecosystem. But in the city, we spray chemicals on the bugs, we kill them off, we try to get rid of them, or you have Wi-Fi killing them and all the chemicals that councils might spray on weeds and all sorts of things. What is that? Chickens?
It's a chicken, not a snake. We're good.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then you're in a dying ecosystem. You're literally living in a dying ecosystem, and you're part of that dying ecosystem. Yeah. Sorry.
No, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. And it's like the conditioning, right? I'm still city conditioned. I even feel it in my feet. My feet are so sensitive where, you know, you can go walking in the ground and the rocks and your feet are more accustomed to.
Yeah, you should see all the calluses though. They're pretty manky, these feet.
So yeah, it's like we just have to like decondition from the city, and it takes a few days, right? You like kind of get back. But then going from, I've lived in the jungle many times for months in an eco village. Shout out to Punta Mona in Costa Rica. The cockatoos, I love it. And then going back to the city feels so aggressive and so harsh on the system, and it's just like, ugh. So it's so funny how our systems calibrate.
Yeah, it is. What are the biggest changes that you find that you experience from going from a jungle to a city? Like, what do you experience in your body?
Yeah, the jungle, I feel like fluid. I'm connected. I'm in flow. The food is so fresh. I was in, like, especially in this permaculture place, and you just feel alive. Like you're so sensitive to everything. And then when you go into a city, it's so intense. It's really aggressive, so you kind of have to numb down. You have to dull down your senses to be able to handle everything. So you almost feel like in the jungle you're open, and then in the city you're kind of like, oh, just loud, and it feels really aggressive. So it makes sense that people have to shut down and kind of keep their head down and drink and smoke and subdue and deny and suppress, because it can be really overwhelming.
Yeah, I definitely feel overwhelmed in cities. Even when I drive into a city, like, it's kind of interesting for me now, because I feel like I'm in a theme park. I'm just like, ooh, look at that, look at that, look at that. But after a while, I'm just like, too much, too much, too much, too much. And I just want to see trees, and I want to see animals, and I want to just feel a more calmer energy. So it's very different. And do you have any advice or for people living in cities, or anything else that you would like to add?
I think everything I said, to start to look at your life and take an inventory of all of the things that are going into your body, that you're consuming, right? Like the news, your television, your clothes, is it all plastic, your friends, what you're doing on the weekend, are you drinking, are you, like, just taking a look at all of your life and going through really radically and taking a good honest look and saying, like, does this actually serve me? Does this benefit me? Is this nourishing me, or is this depleting me of my life force? And then start to make 1% change. You don't have to do it all at once. You can if you're hardcore, and power to you. I love that. It can be a lot. So just one thing at a time. I'm going to replace this. I'm going to go out more. I'm going to turn off my phone. I'm going to switch this. I'm going to get rid of my plastic clothes and start getting more natural fibers. I'm going to eat organic. I'm going to not use plastic. I'm going to use glass. Like, get rid of my microwave. Just the little things, one by one by one by one.
Yeah.
And that can start to make a huge compound difference.
Definitely. And it is a process. Like, anyone who does everything, I think it's impossible to just shift your whole life all at once. Plus, it's a learning journey, because you go down like these rabbit holes where you might realize, oh, Falky, oh, little baby. You might realize one day, oh, plastic clothes made of polyester aren't good for my body, and the natural fibers allow my skin to breathe and all that kind of other stuff. So you go down that rabbit hole, and then you might slowly start switching out the clothes as you can afford them. And same with the food, you might start learning about what is healthy and what isn't, what is non-food that they sell on shelves, and what is actual food that nourishes you and keeps you healthy and vital. So you go down rabbit holes. It's a whole process. It's not just, all right, just do this and it's all going to happen overnight. It's the whole process, and you learn so much through doing it.
Yeah, absolutely. The 3-day juice fast is not going to fully connect you back to nature.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's such a beautiful journey. And, without your health, you have nothing.
Yeah.
Right? Without your health, you have nothing. And with it, woo! Oh, see, the bugs. Woo! I'm still not bug oriented. That was just a little demonstration. Without your health, you really have nothing. And with a dysregulated nervous system, you can't fully be present for your life. And so this is a really beautiful journey to connect you back to that truth and to wellness, like to true holistic wellness. And what else is more important than that?
Yeah, without your health, you have nothing, literally. So it should be one of our top priorities, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Sam.
My pleasure. This is so much fun.
Here.
Thanks for having us. Thanks for playing.
Where can everyone find out more about you?
Yeah, you can connect with me on Instagram at Samantha_Lotus. Get him! Get him!
Falky likes spies.
My website, samanthalotus.com. Those are the places I hang out.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us. And yeah, that's it.
Yay!